Good morning, everyone. I'm back on showing up late. Last night was a late night. It was about 1:30 a.m. we finished, but there wasn't a huge amount going on at Davos yesterday. I think a lot more people, including delegates, are arriving today. So it'll be really interesting to see what's actually going on in Davos today. But what's really interesting is I had some audiences write in and say, Trump's arrived. What if you live stream Trump? So let me explain Davos to you and break it down a little bit. So I've been told by my colleagues here that to get into the actual Congress, it costs about 27,000 euros for a ticket. That's just to get into the Congress. Then you calculate what it costs to actually stay in Davos. So people here are renting out their apartments for about 11 to 20,000 euros for the week. And then this year, you can't actually get shuttle rides anymore with your tags. So you have to Uber because it's quite spread out with all the events and you're walking on ice and snow, and so it's a bit tricky. And to Uber for about an 11-minute ride costs 45,000 euros. And then if you're coming from out of town, you got to fly, you got to rent cars or whatever it is that you're doing. Some people are spending up to 60,000 euros just for the week to be here. That's most people's, or a lot of people's, in the Western world, annual salary just for 1 week. So needless to say, I'm not in the Congress and I'm not staying in Davos, but I'm showing up anyway because there's a lot of really cool stuff happening in Davos that's not part of the main Congress that's starting to make its way into the main conversation about how we transform economics, how we actually bring better stewardship to the world, how we collectively unite and collaborate to solve some of these really complex problems. Today we've got a lot of cool stuff on. So I'm heading up to the train. We're going to go into Davos now. And we have this fantastic imagination program that's happening in the big dome in Davos. So we're going to go check that out. I've got some interviews today with some fantastic people. Christina Korp, who is responsible for doing a lot of the work with astronauts and young kids about space and bringing space into visioning possible futures. She's working on a big project for Times Square right now where they're looking to bring in an actual spacecraft. And some other incredible people. Jamie Moyes coming in from New York today. She's a blockchain specialist and financier. We're going to talk to her about what the future looks like in tech and how we can actually use technology to bring people together. So I'm going to take you through, going to have some interesting panels. I'm going to show you around Davos a bit more, and we're going to meet some really, really interesting people. So stay tuned. Please share on the live feeds, because if you're live feeding, then I can see and I can respond. And we're also getting into some really cool partnerships with some other media companies now, so that we can try and spread the word of showing up and have people start to show up more in places where they need to be to make a difference, to get your voice out there, to drive action. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I was listening to Greta this morning. She's talking about being heard is one thing, but having that transform into action is another. And that's what we're here to do. So stay tuned.